Yes, guys, welcome back to another episode of Ball Talk with me, Lewis Bryon. And today I'm joined by an Arsenal fan, content creator, Noah Jones, once again. Noah, how are you, mate?
I've been better, mate. I've been better. How are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, like you said, I'm still a little angry, disappointed from
Yeah.
last night's result. Arsenal played Villa, obviously, we lost 2-0. We'll get straight into it, yeah, we'll get straight into it. What was your
Sweet.
thoughts of the game, your general thoughts?
Um, I knew it was going to be a tough fixture. They're in fourth place for a reason. Do you know what I mean? You don't get fourth in the Premier League beating Man U, Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle, all these teams without being good yourself. But I was confident that we'd win. The way we've been playing recently has been so good. Our run since start of January has been unreal. Just seems to go out the window, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I was the same as you. I was confident going into the game. I knew we'd be a bit tired, which it did look like that. But in the first half, we played well, I thought.
Yeah.
I see a few people saying they weren't too impressed, but I thought we played well, created loads of good chances that we just didn't put in the back of the net. I
Hmm.
think Jesus had a good header that he sort of just missed the target completely. Trossard had a 4 or 5 yard basically
Oh,
tapping
mate.
straight at the keeper. Like we needed to, you need to put them away at this point of the season now, don't you?
Yeah.
And then second half, second half for me, we just looked a bit leggy. They looked like they really got into it. I think they're almost playing for the second half. Like their game
Hmm.
plan was to sort of come at us in the second half, and we looked tired. They looked like they got the second wind, and yeah, it was just a frustrating one.
100%, mate. Like you say, we did look leggy. It was a bit weird. Arteta has this thing about duels, doesn't he? That you got to win your duels. Everyone has to win their battles. We seem to lose every 50-50.
Yeah,
And I can't imagine it being like a lack of desire because we've had it all season. Why would it just disappear yesterday? So, like you say, maybe it's just tired legs. I was a bit confused with the starting lineup. Um, I get rotation. I get that you need
yeah,
to play different people, but having like six attackers on the pitch, what it was Trossard, Jesus, Havertz, and Saka and Odegaard. I'm still not 100% who was playing where. It seemed like he put Havertz back in that left centre mid role that we tried at the start of the season, and it didn't
yeah,
work. So why did we go back to it? I don't quite understand that decision.
yeah. With that, it seemed like I don't mind him in there, but it almost seemed like he started because Jesus would drift it like in and out and everywhere. He'd sort of drift back into his number 9 and then float
Hmm.
between the two. So he weren't doing either one. But we'll talk about the starting lineup, right?
Mm.
I know he's. I suppose this is where managing comes into it, right? It's why they earn all the money they do because they've got a game on Wednesday. Do you think that will
Mm.
come into his mind? The game on Wednesday?
It must have. It must have because we've pretty much played the same starting lineup for the past 4 months,
Yeah,
barring a Martinelli injury. It's been Kivior at left back, and it's been Jorginho dropping in, um, right in the eight. Sorry, Havertz up top, and it just seemed a bit weird that the saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Um,
yeah,
that why he would change it. So I absolutely think he was thinking, right, we'll keep Martelli fresh. Um, we'll keep Jorginho's getting on a bit and
yeah,
doesn't really have the pace, even though he's about 32, to keep up with anyone. So I do think he had that in mind, and he thought I need to rest some people. I I don't know if it was the right way round. Um,
yeah. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
I'm not 100% on what I would do, and there's a reason I'm not a football manager, but it just seemed weird to. I mean, what's going on with Partey? Is he injured
Yeah.
again? Why would he not play Jorginho or Partey in that holding role?
Yeah, I think he was keen to play Jesus up front, sort of, and try and get him
Mm.
back to the good form he started the season in. But for me, like, I think it's so easy to like look at the starting lineup now and sort of not moan, but criticise
Of course,
the Arteta's decision. Even though, listen, we started the first half and we should have been 2-3 up,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then Villa might have just gone like that might have just taken the wind out of their sails, and no one will be
Hmm.
moaning at Arteta saying, "Great,
Hmm.
we've got 2 fresh legs for Wednesday.
Yeah, you're right. You are
So
right.
I'm not too disappointed with it. But what I'd like to touch on the subs. That's something I wasn't too impressed with. And
Hmm.
again, for me, it's the first mistake Arteta's made all season. So I've done. This is not like I don't think we should start pointing fingers at Arteta at all.
Of course.
But he took. There was one person for me after the first half I thought should have come off. I thought Zinchenko was poor defensively and would hold on to the ball for too long. And we made 4 subs before taking Zinchenko off. He was the 5th, and we brought him off in the 87th minute. I think our first sub was Trossard coming off for. Who did Trossard? Trossard come off for, and someone else. Who was it? Trossard and Ben White. Ben White, I think, got a
Yes,
little
that's
knock.
it. Tomiyasu
Martinelli
came
and
on, didn't he? Yeah.
Tomiyasu come on. Yeah. And listen, I thought Jesus and Zinchenko, I don't know, I just didn't think they were up to it again, really. I'm not convinced with Jesus playing in the number 9 at the moment for
Hmm.
Arsenal. I remember there was a little flash across the box where the ball's just gone exactly where you want your number 9 in between the posts, and he's, I don't know where he is, probably playing out left wing.
Yeah.
So don't know. What was your thoughts on the subs?
Yeah, I remember the bit you're talking about there. Havertz got through and I think pulled it back, and it literally went along like 4 yards away from goal with no one near it. And what annoyed me is that I know Havertz would be there.
Yeah, he
In
would.
all previous games, his tap-ins, he's been there. That's what his thing is, poaching. And we said before the Bayern match last time, didn't we? Jesus is a winger.
Yeah.
In front
At the moment, it
of
seems like it, doesn't it?
yeah, at the moment, sorry, yeah. In front of goal, he just can't. It's like he can't hit the target. That header that you're talking about, he's 3 yards out. I know he's got pressure on him, but he was Man City striker for 5, 6 years. But he can't hit the target, and he's not in the right position where we need him to be. And that was why I was confused with the Trossard, Havertz, and Jesus, because they've all kind of played the same role. So then putting them all together, I feel like it was a bit like, right, who's going where? Havertz is there,
Yeah.
so does Jesus. It seemed a bit lost, but yeah, as you say on the subs, my only issue with Arsenal nowadays is that we don't have any killers off the bench. I like Smith Rowe, I like Vieira, I like Reece Nelson, but there's times in games where you're up against the cosh and you bring on a sub, and I think the other team goes, "Oh God, that's all we need at 70 minutes." We don't have that killer, and in my opinion, that killer has been Trossard in previous games, but he
Yeah.
started, so he can't come off the bench. And yeah, I
feel like
feel
Jesus-
like. Sorry, go on, mate.
Yeah. I feel like Jesus could be like, for me, if I was playing centre half, I would not want Jesus to come off the bench 70 minutes when I'm leggy. Like that, he's not a killer in terms of he's going to score 2 or 3, definitely.
Hmm.
Like you won't think that, but you think, oh, he's going to make this difficult for me now. He's going
His
to run
footwork,
everywhere.
yeah.
He's going to put his body. He's strong. Like that's someone I'd want to come off the bench.
Yeah, completely agree. Like we've said before, his footwork is a joke, and we saw it against Bayern. Took out 4 players and just handed it off to Trossard. But that makes me think he's a winger.
Yeah, exactly.
But what do we know? What do we know? We're on a podcast, and Arteta's managing the team. We've all got severely depressed after this game. I think because it's so close to the end of the season. You swap this with one of our games in February. We lose Aston Villa in February. We beat Bournemouth now. It's like, all right, yeah, cool. We're 2 points behind
Yeah.
City. That's fantastic. I think it's because we were up and now we've dropped.
Well, it's our first loss of the year.
Exactly.
So,
And it seems like a horrible time to do it. But there's 6 games left. Man City have still got to play Tottenham, who was their bogey team. I can't imagine Tottenham rolling over to give City the league, but you never know what's going to happen. And we have to think, like you say, it's our first loss in 2024 in the league, sorry, in the Prem, which is mad, mate. It's mad. 4.5 months, our first loss. It's rough to take, but you have to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And with the Champions League game coming up, I've heard mixed opinions on whether it will be good for us to stay in the Champions League or not regarding our Premier League, like how well we're doing the Prem.
Mm.
And I actually think that now if we were to go and beat Bayern, I actually think it would give us. Listen, winning games gives you energy. So if we
Yeah.
were to go beat Bayern, I think that'd actually give us more energy than if we were to lose and stay out of the competition. Staying
Mhm.
in that competition and winning games, I think will help us in the league. Like regardless of it's all psychological.
Yeah.
Of course, they've got an extra game then in midweek, but it is psychological. If you're winning games and these big games as well, that will have an effect on your just the atmosphere around the training ground, everything, and
Yeah.
it will help you feel more energized and up for the games in the Prem. I think.
Yeah, you're so right. I was the opposite to that last season. Do you remember when we got knocked out the Europa League? And I was like, quality, we can now focus on the league. And you now realise that having 10 days of no football isn't a good thing.
Yeah,
And before seeing, we've got Tottenham in 2 weeks. I think it's just under 2 weeks. And they've got, or after their game, they had 14 days off before they play us. In that time, we have 4 fixtures. And initially, I was like, that's terrible. We're going to be knackered. They've got 14 days rest. But they've just lost 4-0 to Newcastle. And now the next game they have to wait for is Arsenal. That's not a good thing. So, yeah, I completely agree. I want to go as far as we can in all comps. Beating Bayern Munich in the Champions League, excuse me, would be a massive thing, a massive confidence boost, especially after that Villa game. If we now go, right, we really need to focus on the league, so don't worry about the Champions League. So we lose to Villa, we then lose to Bayern, we then have like Wolves away. That is not the way to do it. I completely agree. We have to go as deep as we can in the Champions League. We have to.
yeah, completely agree, mate. And we'll get onto the Champions League now. Okay, we'll get onto that Wednesday match away to Bayern Munich. Again, it's the second leg of the quarterfinals in the Champions League, and 2-2. Is it 2-2? Aggregate, isn't it? Yeah,
2-2, yeah.
yeah, 2-2. I mean, we spoke previously about sort of approaching the game as we would the City game,
Mm.
where we sort of set up in the low block. But that was obviously, of course, if we got a couple goals cushion, which we
Which we
didn't.
didn't.
So no, so we've got to approach the game completely different to how we thought. How would you approach the game? Because again, you've got to take into account the emotions from all the players now who have just lost their first game of the year in the league and
Yeah.
know that everyone's going to be criticising them, saying like the typical bottlers, Arsenal, all that. So it's a lot to deal with for the players. But I don't know, how would you approach it?
It is. I think now I don't think we can approach it like we approach City.
No.
I think we have to treat this exactly like if this was a home game. It's going to be tough, and I think we've made it tough for ourselves after the first leg. We made mistakes which allowed them into the game. Other than them mistakes, they didn't really do much. We had the better of them throughout the game. We just ruined it for. We beat ourselves, really. We have to go at this game 100%, all guns blazing. We have to go to the Allianz like we're at home. They're still not in good form. They've still got injuries. And you know what? It might help us, them having a bit of confidence. You've seen us against low block teams. We are sometimes horrid. We need to hope that they play football. Because if they play football, that's when we get in behind. I think it's going to be one of the games of the season. I think we're going to be pretty nervous, which worries me. I would hope that we went into it confident, and we've just lost the game. We need to go Champions League, but I think we're going to be a bit nervous.
Yeah, I think we'll be nervous, but I don't think we'll be as nervous as we were sort of for the home game. I thought there was a lot of pressure on that, and some of the players did look a bit nervy. But now it's almost like, I mean, I think with the bookies, we're not the favourites now to win, so to go through.
Really?
So it's almost like, right, yeah. So the pressure's sort of half off, not off us, but listen, we've already messed up now.
Mm-hmm.
If we mess up again, it doesn't really matter. We've already done it. So now we can go out and play a bit freer and proper go at them. And like you said, they'll try and play at home. They're not gonna sit in which will just open up the space for how well we can play.
Mm-hmm.
They won 2-0 on the weekend, I think, Bayern, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so they've got a win under their belt, but again, they're not playing for anything. I think Leverkusen won it on the weekend, didn't they? So they're not playing for anything in that league.
Exactly.
Where I'm thinking, let's get into the starting 11.
Yeah,
let's get into the
I'm
starting
ready.
11 because again, we spoke about it with the Villa game. Who would you just change the two that we mentioned for the Villa game? Would you just put Jorginho in and maybe who would it Kiwior at left back and keep the rest the same?
It now becomes tough after that Villa game. It becomes tough because I think I like Zinchenko in the way that on the ball and build-up play and attacking-wise, he's so good. He really is.
Yeah.
If you watch 3 massive chances we had yesterday, was him playing the ball over the top to Havertz. But then defensively, poor. The issue we had in the first leg was Leroy Sané. He was quality. Absolutely roasted Kiwior for the first half.
Yeah, he did.
I'm playing Tomiyasu at left back.
Yeah, I've actually had the same. I've had him at left back.
I mean, he's played there before. Arteta said he's the best one-on-one defender at the club. He can do it. We've tried the other two and it didn't work. So why not? Why not try the third? I think he's a very good defender, and we don't need him to play football. If it's 1-0 in 70 minutes, then you bring on Zinchenko and you go, right, we need to get this goal. So it's Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, and for me, it's Tomiyasu.
Yeah, I agree with that 5, including obviously the GK. I think White went off. I don't know if he went off sort of with a little like just absolutely blowing, but hopefully he's ready for that for on the weekend. Just touching on Zinchenko again, I just want to add that I think, like you said, he does get us going forward. But when we've got the ball, I think there was a chance yesterday where he sort of tried to nutmeg someone on the edge of our box, but on like the right side, and then they've just obviously nicked it off him, and then almost had a shot at goal and whatever. So he does do it in the wrong places sometimes for me.
He does
because he's so confident on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to the midfield now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm going to have Jorginho. Obviously, he got rested. Jorginho in the holding role. Push Rice into where he can be more effective in and out position, not just the sort of the sitter and the holder. He can do both. He's got 6 goals, I think, this year. So yeah, definitely push him up higher. And then Odegaard again. He got 60 minutes on the weekend, so he should have a decent amount of rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you agree with that?
I can't decide between Partey or Jorginho.
Yeah, you having Partey, aren't you? I can tell.
Yeah,
I don't like Partey.
I really don't know. The first leg, Jorginho was kind of redundant. Yeah. I feel like, yes, he keeps the play ticking and he does the simple stuff. But when we're defending a counter, which we did a couple of times, he might as well not be there because he's so slow.
Just treads forward, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Partey hasn't looked amazing when he's come on in recent weeks. He did play the pass that meant Saka almost got the pen at the end, and I think that's what Jorginho lacks, that direct forward passing. And again, if we're defending a counter, I think I prefer Partey. So, mate, I might go Partey. I think I've just decided. Yeah. I've not been able to decide. I think I've just decided Partey.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually been impressed with him when he's come on. To be fair, I do like him. Like even when I think it was his first game back, he got chucked in for the last 20 minutes, and he just looked solid on the ball, comfortable under pressure. So I'd be happy with him. I probably would go Jorginho, but I don't know. It might be an end-to-end game, so maybe Partey is the better shout. But even you wouldn't look at a team with either of them in and go, "Oh no," would you? Like you'd be pretty happy with either.
No, not at all. You're not annoyed at either of them. I just think if they're going to have more possession, I think I'd rather Partey with Rice and Odegaard.
Yeah, cool. And then the front three, who have you got?
I'm going Saka. I'm going Havertz up top. The left wing is a really hard spot at the minute because it's always Martinelli, right? Until Martinelli's played the last couple of weeks and hasn't really done anything. I know that's really harsh, but
Yeah, since he's come back from that little, I think he had a little knock or something, didn't he? He's not
Yeah,
played the 90 minutes since.
he had a
He's sort of.
cut, which
Really?
took a while to heal, and he seems to be a little bit softer since he's come back. Whether he's not 100% or not, I don't know. But I think I'm going Jesus left wing.
To start.
To start, yeah. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Trossard has to be a sub. I don't know what he's done to his career, but he's ruined himself that he's so good off the bench that he has to be a sub.
Yeah.
And again, I want Martinelli against tired legs. I normally say that about Jesus, but if you remember the Man City game when we sat back the whole game, Jesus was basically playing left back and he did it well. And I think because they're going to have more of the ball and Leroy Sane will be playing right wing, I think I'm playing Jesus left wing.
Yeah. I did have down Martinelli, but I do like the shout actually. Now that you said Martinelli against tired legs, that sounds good.
It does.
Does
Look,
sound good.
I'm not going to be annoyed if Martinelli starts at all, because he needs a game where he turns it on, and this could be it. I think if Trossard starts, oh mate,
I'd like
after
Martinelli to
yesterday,
start.
it's so hard to decide.
I think Martinelli needs that game, like the game to start where it's a big game. He's up for it and he's back in. He's like back in the team. He's
Yeah,
part of it now. And
yeah,
I think that'll bring the best out of him. And he's he's a player, sorry, that needs to be proper, like up for it. He needs to
yeah.
have a reason to like go and prove to other people while he like prove a point. So definitely, I'd go Martinelli to start, and then Trossard can come on for either of the wide players, of
Yeah.
course, and then Jesus again. We've got two good subs, in my opinion, to bring on.
Yeah, I'll back that, mate. Because look, Martinelli will have fresh legs, and maybe that was the whole point. Don't want to play him against Villa because we want him 100% against Bayern. So yeah, I'm happy to back Martinelli. I quite enjoy seeing Jesus, I think, as well.
Yeah, and then in terms of the game, we spoke about the approach. We just need to. There's no point sitting back and sitting in that low block. Is there really? We need to just go for it, even if we're away from home.
Yeah,
I prefer to. It could even be like a 3-2 win. Do you know what I mean? I prefer
yeah,
that to a 1-0. I think that's going to be more likely.
absolutely. And I don't think we will sit back because first leg, I know they are away from home, but and I'm not ruling them out at all. But like Musiala didn't do loads. Kingsley Coman didn't do loads. I think he got injured at the weekend. Serge Gnabry isn't playing. Harry Kane didn't do loads. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of unbelievable players on there that didn't do much, and so I know we're away from home, of course, so it's different. But I'm like, do the same again, and just if you cut out the mistakes, we win that first game 2-0. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
play exactly the same way, because I think even though we're away from home, we can take control.
yeah, and their defence is gettable. I mean, Eric Dyer, he didn't look great. Like they played out to him almost every time. We'd sort of forced it onto him, and he'd go along and we'd win it. And then defensively, again, he didn't look great to me. He still lacks a bit of that pace in pressing, in recovering. So I think that'd be a good player to get at. With Saka maybe cutting inside, I would have gone over that side as well.
100%. And do you know what's really funny? We're so annoyed about yesterday, and we're so annoyed about the first leg. We drew with Bayern Munich, and we're annoyed. Like that's the difference. It's been for the past few. Can you imagine 5 years ago if we drew with Bayern Munich and been annoyed? Everyone would have been like, "What are you annoyed about?" So that's we should take that in. We should take the confidence that we've gone up against Bayern Munich and we're annoyed at a draw, and I think the players would probably be annoyed at a draw as well. So yeah, I was quite pessimistic, but I think we can get them. I do think we can get them.
Yeah, I agree. Mate, predictions? What are we saying?
Oh,
I might go with a 2-1 win on the day.
Yeah.
So that would be what 4-3 on aggregate.
Yeah. I don't hate that, and that would be nice. Although I hate sitting and watching a 2-1. It just feels like that's going to be 3-2 in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? I'm going to go a little bit different, and it's going to make it even worse. I'm going to go 2-2, and then we win in extra time.
Yeah. Oh god, that would be.
Oh, I hope not, mate. I hope not.
It'll make for good. If we win it that way, though, it'll make it even better, I suppose. Like the
Yeah,
120 minutes before that won't be great.
exactly. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I think it'll be a great game for the neutrals. And I just really hope we can do it, mate. I really hope we can. I feel like my confidence has been knocked since yesterday, but we're good enough to be able to beat them at the minute.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I agree, mate. Well, listen, no, I think we'll leave it there. We'll see how they get on. Okay, so we've gone 2-2 and 2-1 on the day, yeah? We'll see how they get on. And then we'll try and have a catch up late this week, yeah?
Sounds good to me, mate. Come on, Arsenal.
Love it. Nice, yeah, it's going on, Arsenal.
Cheers, bud.